I thought as much.
But there's always a lovely feeling when we've got an orchestra, because they're always so... They're always so well organised.
Remember 21 from Warmington-on-Sea just pulled them outside out here.
I think they want the other side.
I think you better go and sort it out.
They should have turned... Oh, I'll go, shall I? Yes, you sit there, Andy. I'll go out in the cold. I'll sort this one out.
Well, there we are. Let's...
Hoi! Hoi! You can't park that bus here in wartime. Look, if there's an air raid, how would the emergency services get through? Get it out the way. You got any passengers? And put those lights out! You got any passengers on here? Come. What do you think you're... Oh, my God, his manner is mob.
Hey.
Oh, this is like a terrible dream. And you, Vicar.
Oh, Bill.
I thought you knew better than this. Oh, and you and all. What do you think you're doing here? What do you think you're doing here?
Now, look here, madam.
What do you mean, madam?
This is 1989.
1989?
Yes.
I mean, my watch must have stopped.
I think his brain stopped.
Come on. Come on,
leave him alone.
Come on.
Ignore him.
Oh, it's nice to see you, then.
I hear you've written a book. I didn't even know you could write.
I'm sure I don't need to explain who this lot are, but it's we're celebrating 21 years since Dad's Army first fought the good fight on our screens, and we'll be meeting them all a little bit later. You don't look a day older than what? 60, 70... No.
You remember this ATS girl, don't you?
We'll be chatting a little bit later. Andy!
Yes. Where are we going now?
There always was chaos, and there always will be. Meanwhile, Lionel and his boys have come from the States, not from...
Celebrate the coming of age of this hit show, we've gathered members of the remaining cast together. We'll meet them in a moment, but first, here's a magical memory from the Dad's Army team. Will you lot stop it? With us now are Private Pike Warden Hodges, Corporal Jones and the Vicar, otherwise known as Ian Lavender, Bill Pertwee, Clive Dunn and Frank Williams. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to see you enjoying your... Oh, how nice to see you enjoying your own performances. Most people cringe, but I suppose that's a testament to just how funny it was.
Well, it was.
How do you feel when you see it today? I mean, do you watch it on the screens now?
Oh, yes,
yeah.
I watch it, sir.
Do you?
Oh, yes. I definitely watch it, because I think, well, I'm going to get a couple of bob on the show. They give you money and things, you see.
They
But
do.
he watches it in Portugal, don't you?
Here's your pardon?
You watch it in Portugal?
Oh, yeah.
That's right, because you live in Portugal now.
I do, yes. I'm very glad you mentioned that. My daughters have got a restaurant there. That's the only reason I'm there. I never tried to publicise the restaurant. It's in Quartiera. It's called the Cafe. And if you go there, you get half a bottle of wine free.
Yeah.
It's included in the menu, but you'll get it free.
That's lovely.
You'll always be welcome there.
You obviously still work together as a great team. I mean, you've obviously got an enormous amount of respect and love for each other, because you work so well together on the screens. And this morning, it's been like having a bunch of 2-year-olds in the studio. I'll say that bit. I'll tell that story.
We love each other, but we haven't got any respect for each other.
Well, not for one of them.
Well, how can you? I mean...
Get up.
I mean, people are a bit sort of funny. We are a bit strange.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have a respect that we all made a super programme.
We're very lucky, really.
Yes.
Have you seen each other much over the years?
Not
I've just seen Clive rather a lot in a little restaurant in Portugal.
Have you? Sorry,
I'm very glad you mentioned that.
Oh, is it really?
Vasco da Gama, isn't it, Clive? Listen, it's splendid, go there. Not now, but go there.
Yeah. Sadly, I mean, watching that clip, great fun, but sadly, John Le Mesurier and Arthur Lowe are no longer with us.
Yeah.
But you must all have some wonderful memories of the show. What did you particularly enjoy about it, Will?
Well, I mean, I think on the very
Bill's
first...
written a book about it.
Good Lord, have you, Bill? Really?
Yes.
Yes?
You're not plugging your book, are you?
And have you got some of these wonderful stories in it?
Yes.
That you're about to tell me?
Well, I mean, they were. I think Arthur and John certainly provided us with a lot of sort of wonderful, humorous moments. I mean, Arthur, I've got to tell you, one at the Royal Command performance we did in 1975, we're waiting for the finale, and we've all come back. We've been lodged outside around the theatre, the Palladium, and we come back, and I'm standing next to Arthur, and also on the bill were the KwaZulu dancers. Great, marvellous black group of dancers. And I'm standing with Arthur here. We're looking out through the wings and at the Royal Box and whatever was going on at that time, The Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh were, you know, applauding or whatever.
They went back up as well.
They went back, no. And suddenly we were aware of something going on here, beside Arthur. And Arthur always had to say something. He could never not make a comment. And I looked round, as Arthur did, and there was this lovely black lady, bare-breasted, feeding her little boy, right? Now, you can't just... Arthur couldn't leave it at that, and he looked at it, he looked back at me, and I knew he was going to say something. He said, likes a drink, does he? I mean, for no reason at all. Likes a drink.
Ian, was it difficult... Wake up there, lad. Was it difficult for you coming in amongst this lot who were all highly respected and the series had been going on, so presumably you've watched it, but you were a newcomer, young lad?
Well, yes, it was my second television, but the first light entertainment show, and I knew we were going away filming. This is how much I didn't know about television in those days. You were going away filming, so I went and presented myself at the television centre, and everybody else had got a suitcase, so I had to go home and pack. I didn't know we were even going away.
So he wasn't stupid off as he was on, then, was he?
Nearly. Very nearly.
Clive, you had to be talked into quite a few stunts, didn't you?
Yes. Fortunately, I was very, very brave. So, you know, going around windmills and things like that, you know,
yes.
I enjoyed all that, really. But the funny thing was that David Croft used to hire, engage, is the right word, a stuntman, see, and then he'd do it, see, when we did the filming right there. And then David used to say, do you mind doing that now? So I used to do it as well. So we both got a salary at the end of the week, the stuntman and me, and we both did the same thing.
Bill, didn't you have to sort of talk Clive into some of these stunts?
Well, I think he did a wee bit, yes, because, you see, the thing about Clive is that he'd been in the business a long time, through all sorts of various aspects of it, and you... Stop laughing. And... Clive wanted to actually think about a stunt. I mean, he just didn't want to do it like that. So Clive used to say, oh, yes, what? No, no, yes, I will, yeah. It's all right. Ha, 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 ha. And he used to go...
To the tea. I mean, it's you.
I've never done that in my life.
He used to go away and think about it and then come back and say, yes, I've worked it out. Yes, yes, I'd like to do it. That was really it. But
it took a long time to say that.
I mean, I did some ridiculous things.
You don't need any sleeping tablets with your tongue.
I did some ridiculous things, I think, without thinking, because that's me.
Well, I was going to say, yes, that was Bill. He always did, you know, ask him to do anything, he'd do it straight away. I can remember once when we were having to drive a motorbike. He was driving a motorbike down the road towards the camera, you see. I'm on the pillion, Teddy Sinclair playing the Verger is in the sidecar. The motorbike's going along towards the camera, and you can see they're all thinking, it's a good shot, yes, it's going to look very good. And then suddenly you saw the expression on their faces change into sheer panic, and the camera went one way, the director went, because he didn't know how to stop it. And we ended up in a ditch.
You mentioned David Croft just now, and this is my chance to say, well, sort of almost this is your life, because we do have, I believe, Jimmy Perry and David Croft down at our North Acton rehearsal studios. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, look, they look a lot more organised than you lot do. Good morning to you both. David, it must have been absolute hell. I've had a taste of it this morning, trying to control this lot.
Well, it wasn't too hard, because they had great respect for each other. They're all pros, and they knew that any one of them could kill the others absolutely stone dead. So they're very careful what they did when the cameras were turned.
Jimmy, it was your original idea. How did you come up with it?
Oh, I don't know, Judy. It just... I was walking down the street one day in 1967, and I thought, oh, that's a good idea. Why not write a comedy series about the Home Guard? So I did a bit of research, and nobody knew anything about it. They'd all forgotten it. They'd forgotten all about the Home Guard. They'd forgotten all about the war. Anyhow, I was fortunately on one of David's shows, and I chatted over with him, and he was very enthusiastic. Unlike a lot of directors, they always put you down and say, oh, I don't think so. He was marvellous. And he said, oh, this is fantastic. And we got together, and we sold it to the BBC in 4 days, and it's one of those marvellous stories, and it all came together. And as you were saying, what would they like to work with? They could be a bit difficult sometimes. I mean, it's 21 years old. Let's talk the truth. I mean,
but weren't you both in a Dad's army? Weren't you both in the army or Dad's army?
I was in the Home Guard when I was 15.
Right. I was an air raid warden.
Yeah,
I wasn't a bit like Bill, though. I was only 17.
That's not what Bill said. You see, I've actually heard a little rumour that Bill's character was sort of based on you.
Oh, no. I was much nicer than he was. I'm not bombastic and awkward and that sort of thing. Oh, by the way, Bill, I mean, if you can pop in the next few days to rehearse the show you're rehearsing with me, we're very pleased to see you.
Yes, what are you working on at the moment?
It's called You Rang My Lord. It's a sort of comedy upstairs, downstairs. We did a pilot last year, and the series is going out in January.
And I've got news for you, Bill. This morning, David Croft's been rehearsing your part, and he's better than you are, so don't bother to come back.
Oh, that's charming, isn't it?
So, yeah. Good morning, all.
What is the secret of this tremendous partnership of yours? I mean, you've done so many successful things. Dad's Army, Ain't Half Hot, Heidi High.
We don't talk to each other.
Don't talk to each other much, except when we're working. That's excellent. No, it works fine, because I go over the top. I have these ridiculous ideas, and David sort of straightens them out, and we work together, and it all seems to come out quite nicely. And David's very good at picking excellent actors. Well, we pick the actors.
So's Jimmy. Yeah.
Well, we pick them, and they stick by us. Most of them are on our pension list.
Yeah.
That veteran actor, Bill Pertwee.
Actually, Clive, you told me something rather interesting this morning. Weren't you almost related to David?
David Croft, yes. Not many people... I'll take my hat off to tell this story. David Croft's father and my mother, about 167 years ago...
Steady on, Clive.
Were on... What?
Steady on, Clive.
What was the name of the show?
Stop flirting? I don't know.
Anyway, they were on tour, you see, musical comedy, and they had a bit of an affair. I think they were sharing digs or something. So it was a very narrow squeak. I nearly had to call him Auntie.
I can't see whether everybody's blushing down there. Can either of you, obviously you've got a wealth of memories when you look back at the series, but is there anything that really springs to mind?
I think probably Arthur Lowe in his pyjamas in the hotel being absolutely furious because they put more than one tea bag in his teapot. You've done it again.
And Arthur used to come, when we were rehearsing, Arthur used to come up to me and say, tell David to tell so-and-so not to do that. And then the person he was talking about said, tell David to tell Arthur not to do that. And I was the intermediary all the time.
So you
Clive used to do it as well.
You had as much fun off-screen as you did on-screen. You used to film in Thetford, didn't you?
That's right, yes. There's a great big battle area up there, and we used to... we could have explosions, and nobody would stop us. It was marvellous.
The social life was very good, particularly with Arthur, who was a great gourmet. Wouldn't you say, David?
Yes, and he loved his wine, too.
Yes.
And we'd have great parties at David's place, because David has a house very near where we were filming. We used to have some marvellous Sunday parties there. Wonderful, with all David's children and families, and we'd get great roast joints, fantastic.
So
John Le Mesurier loved a drop of wine too, didn't he? Bell's whiskey, wasn't it? I was walking through Trafalgar Square with him one night, and we'd had a few, and he went up to a constable and he said, excuse me, constable, could you tell me where I could find Alcoholics Anonymous? And he said, why do you want to join? So he said, no, I want to resign.
And you still want to work with some of this lot?
I tell you what, Judy, this new series that Jimmy and David are doing is going to be a blockbuster.
When are we going to
Don't
see
say that,
this,
Bill.
then?
Chance your arm.
Be quiet.
When are we going to see this, then?
First week in January. First week in January.
So you need Bill down there today. You want
well, I think, yes, I would like him to pop in just in the next 36 hours, just to have a little slight rehearsal.
Bill, you haven't spoken about your book yet.
Oh, no.
I was just coming to that. What a shame.
That's what the whole programme's about.
We seem to be running out of time. Jimmy and
don't
David,
run out of time.
Thanks very much. And a lot of these tales are, in fact, in your book, which we must say is coming out, and it's all about Dad's Army, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, it's really the sort of the family side of the whole thing, the setup. Little anecdotes about the folks in it and families and things like that.
How much is it?
I won't tell you now. It's very cheap.
Well, I look forward to reading it, and I look forward. I shall be there tonight, 8 o'clock, on the bed, watching the television.
On the bed?
I'm watching in the hotel room, on the bed, watching there. And of course, viewers in Northern Ireland can't see it. I must just add that. But gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the subject of next week's Making Choices. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen of the Home Guard. And now our final number for our music...